Hi, my name is Nathan Peterson. Today I'm going to be talking about reassurance and accommodation within OCD. Before we jump into all that, make sure you subscribe to my channel. If you haven't already, I'm posting videos weekly about OCD, anxiety, and other related mental health disorders. So reassurance. If you have a child or a loved one with OCD, you probably know what reassurance is. Somebody might ask, hey, did I leave the stove on? Did I turn off the lights? Did I close the garage? Did I accidentally hit that person? Am I a bad person? If that thing that I just touched, is that gonna make me sick? Did I wash my hands? Is that soap 100% pure and clean? Is God disappointed in me? Is that red speck over their blood? Did I really do that thing that my brain said that I did? These are just some examples of what questions somebody might ask who has OCD. They need to know their brain is going to be telling them that you feel anxious, you're not sure, so ask somebody. These questions are often asked to parents, they're asked to spouses, they're asked to friends, they're asked to individuals on the internet on different forums. And the answers that you might give them, which we've learned our entire life, is to give reassurance. We're gonna say, no, you are a good person. No, you didn't really hit somebody. Yes, the garage door is locked. No, you're not gonna get sick. Yes, I washed my hands before I prepared dinner. We give those answers because we want the other person to feel okay, to feel all right. We've learned this throughout our entire life. This is just normal human behavior. But when it comes to OCD, this is very detrimental. Because guess what happens? This person just learned that, hey, I asked, if they washed their hands, they said yes. My brain says, okay, well, they washed their hands, so I must be all right. Their brain might doubt, their brain might question and say, wait, you said you washed your hands, but are you sure you washed your hands? I didn't see you wash your hands. Can you go wash your hands again for me? Their brain's gonna doubt, it's gonna question, even the reassurance you just gave them. That's the reason that somebody might ask again and again and again. That's why they call OCD the doubting disease. You want to make your loved one feel good, so you're going to give them a good reassuring answer. I wish that worked, but it doesn't. It gives them that temporary relief until their brain starts questioning and doubting, and then sends them through that OCD cycle all over again for them to feel that urge, feel that need to start asking again. So when it comes to accommodation, this is kind of like reassurance, except for the person is doing something to avoid a perceived threat or fear for that person. As an example, I walk into a restaurant that has a play place. The only seat that's available is the one right next to the play place, but I know that my loved one does not like kids. They have intrusive thoughts, they have worries, they have fears, they have doubts. So I'm purposely going to say, hey, you know what, let's take this food home, because I don't even have to explain. I just know that I'm protecting the individual because I know that they don't like kids, because they make them feel anxious. So I've already chosen, I've already done the reassurance before they've even gotten here. I've done the accommodation. This can be done in so many different ways that I only get this kind of soap for the person because that's the kind that works for them. Or I only sit on one part of the couch because they don't like me sitting on the other part of the couch. And who cares? It's not that big of a deal, I'll just do it. Essentially, I am changing my own behaviors for the other person. Whether it's a small deal or it's a big deal, I want the other person to feel okay. So reassurance and accommodation, both of these can be very detrimental to somebody who has OCD. So you might be asking, all right, then what do I say? What do I do? And here you go. Hopefully this individual is working with a therapist already, so they know the type of treatment that they need to start working on. But essentially, we want to remove all reassurance and accommodation into somebody's life. Don't just completely cut it off. That's not going to be helpful. It's actually going to be probably more harmful. But work with the therapist, work with the individual, and start coming up with certain things that can no longer be answered. For instance, if somebody is working on the fear if they are a good person or a bad person, you might say, you know what, this is kind of like small in my life. This other thing's really big, so this one's small. So I'm actually going to say, hey parents, hey loved one, whoever, make sure if I come to you and I say, hey, do you think I'm a bad person because I had this thought, that your answer might be, you might just do that, shrug your shoulders. You might say maybe, maybe not. You might say, I don't know. You might say, I love you. You might say, I'm so sorry you're going through this. but you're not saying, of course you're a good person. You give to others all the time. You would never really do that thing that your brain said you're gonna do. Both of them show love. Actually, the one where you're not giving that reassurance or accommodation probably shows more love because it's hard. It's hard to do that because that means you just chose for that person to possibly feel a little bit more anxious. But they've got to do the rest of the work. Their job is to start doing these exposures, live more uncertain about the experience that they had. So you can start validating feelings. You can say, I am sorry you're feeling that. I'm sorry that this is coming back to you. I am so sorry that I have a hard time understanding exactly what you're going through. Ways to invalidate would be, stop it. You keep asking me, leave me alone. I've already answered this for you. Validate their feelings because they feel it. It's important. Don't disregard it. Again, a way to be helpful is to be there for them. What is not helpful is when somebody who has no knowledge of OCD treatment whatsoever and the parent or loved one is saying, you may or may not be a bad person. What do you think that's gonna do? They're gonna freak out. They're not gonna do well because they don't know what their part is. They don't know where to go from there. So this has gotta be sometimes a slow thing. Also, other people are just right on board and say, you know what? No more reassurance. Don't give me reassurance anymore. I'm done with it. If I ask you, don't answer. Say you love me. Say maybe, maybe not, but you better not be giving me that reassurance. Those who are willing to go through that fight very quickly tend to get better. So you can encourage the person. You know what exposures they're doing. Hopefully they have it written out for you. You can say, way to go, you can do this. I know this is super hard for you. Be there for them. Sit next to them if you need to, unless it's a compulsion. Be there for your child, loved one, family, friend, whoever. Try to be patient. This is hard for them. As a therapist, we're telling people, essentially face your fears. Embrace the anxiety. Give that bear a big hug. It's coming your way. Smile, give it a big hug. Feel anxious on purpose. Enjoy the anxiety. Be okay with it. Anxiety is not a bad thing. Create a new relationship with it. So of course they're going to be agitated. Of course they're not going to feel the greatest. Learn to not accommodate. What I say is sit down with your loved one, sit down with the therapist as well, and come up with some guidelines. Say, you know what, I am not going to do this anymore. I am not going to clean off the shopping carts anymore. I'm not going to sit on that part of the couch like you'd like me to. I'm going to leave the toys out everywhere. I'm not going to clean them up every single day. I'm also not going to go completely out of my way to make sure that you're safe. So I know what you're thinking. I'm making it sound super easy, but I understand how hard this is. It goes completely against our natural instinct that we've learned our entire life to reassure and make sure other people are okay. It takes a lot of practice. I find that when the individual who's suffering with OCD is on board with it, obviously the process is much easier. We also don't want to go to the far other extreme and say, hey, they're working on being okay being around children. So guess what? I'm going to invite all the children I know over to our house and say, hey, go sit by them and go sit by them and go touch them and go play with the toy. And no, I'm not going to purposely expose this person unless they've agreed to something like that. So a good place to start, if you haven't already, sit down with your loved one, possibly watch this video with them, let them understand the detrimental effects of giving this reassurance. It keeps them captured, it keeps them stuck in this OCD. It makes it so they need to ask again. They're not satisfied with that answer. If they were satisfied, why are they asking again? Their brain needs to learn something new. It needs to learn that I didn't get that reassurance, that bad thing most likely didn't happen, and I'm okay. Sometimes we just say the magic words are maybe, maybe not. If somebody is new in experiencing OCD, this is a really great place to start. Don't start the accommodation. Don't start the reassurance. Allow them to know that you love and you care about them. Seek a therapist. Make sure you find a therapist that is on the iocdf.org website. Chances are if they're not there, they're not a true specialist with OCD. Don't just find somebody that says they work with OCD. Ultimately, what we know is each person is different. Each person is going to experience OCD differently. They are going to take this reassurance or not a little bit differently. So case by case basis, what we know that is a constant, that's something that will be very helpful, is for that loved one to know that you love them. True love and caring is not giving reassurance or accommodating. This is what I want somebody who suffers with OCD to know the most. Think about how hard this is for the person to not give you those answers. I hope this video was helpful for you. Thank you so much for following through. Let me know how your experiences are. Do you have someone that stopped giving you reassurance? How hard was it? And thank you very much.